we're live. We're live.
We're live.
Hi.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Hello.
All right. So today we have a very special guest. So we're going to do a little different today. We usually start with our highs and lows, and we're not going to do that today because we want to make sure we have enough time to really just give you all that we have to give you and just let Tiffany have, you know, her spotlight. So Tiffany, Tiffany is our guest. Is Tiffany Guiang. Okay, guys. I said it right. I get an A+ for today. She is a very good friend of ours. She's just so lovely, and I would love for her to introduce herself because I could say so much about her because she's just so wonderful. But I would love for her to introduce herself.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I feel truly honored. I love like the connection that we all have. I know like for some of you, like I'm just getting to know some of you, but like with Ashley and Justice. But yeah, like my name is Tiffany. I live here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And as you can tell, I'm really nervous right now, but
Okay.
so I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I am actually a mother of 3. My oldest is already graduated from high school. Yeah, and I've been with my spouse now for 14 years. My background is like property management, business, direct sales, like a whole bunch of different stuff in my background. And honestly, my biggest thing really is that I just truly value relationships. That's like my number one thing. And currently right now, like it's so weird trying to introduce myself because we always talk about like, what do you do? Currently right now, I'm a stay-home mama, and I currently help women with getting consistent in their writing to help them with like their mental health, to help them with getting like a deeper relationship with themselves and also with God. And it's truly been a blessing, the journey that I've been on personally. But we'll talk more about that. But as for anything else, I mean, I don't know. I really, I have a lot of hobbies. Like I'm a creative person. I love to write. I love to paint. I genuinely love to be outdoors and just cherish moments with my family. That's something that me and Ashley have in common, is just like creating, those special moments with our family. So, but yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, thank you. And listen, don't worry about being nervous on here because listen, I was nervous when we just started. Like we all get flustered. So yeah, that's just a part of the game, guys. It's live. It's not like we can go back and edit it later, but right now we're live. Right. So thank you everyone for watching. This is real and raw. So Tiffany, like you mentioned about your family. Listen, I love watching you with your family. Especially like you guys do the outings and you guys make those memories, like we talk, like I know like that was something that you wanted to like commit more to. So please tell us like how important that is to have that with your family.
Well, definitely, like that's one of the things for me is I feel like in our day-to-day life, we're always on the go, right? We're constantly like focused on work, our family, all the different things, right? And so for me, like my biggest thing is when you're intentional in your day and looking for moments that you can truly cherish, that's what to me makes all the little difference. Like, and so for me, like though like lately, like I recently injured my foot, so we haven't been out as much, and then now the weather's getting colder, but we love to go camping, we love to go fishing, even if it's just going for a walk with the dogs on the trail, taking the kids to go like look at horses, stuff like that. I know that's something that you and I talked about, Ashley, but it's true. Honestly, I just feel like life is so short. And so one of the beautiful things about working from home is that you can really create those moments with your kids. And though mine are growing up like super fast, like now it's like you're creating different kind of memories, And so even just now, like a few minutes ago before we hopped on, I was playing a board game with my daughter. And so that was like my highlight of the day, like just play a quick game of Sorry. And then,
that's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's why I love Tiffany. She's just so sweet. Like, you know how you can just like, you just feel it with her. Like she's just, her presence.
She has good energy.
I just love her energy. Like she's just so great. Like, I think Vanessa had a question for you.
I had a few questions about her journaling.
Okay, go ahead, girl.
Okay, so Tiffany, I wanted to ask you, how did you come up with the idea for your journal?
My She Journals Through the Journey.
Yes.
So thank you for asking that. So for me personally, Ashley and Justice both know, because they were on like my journaling Zooms when I was doing my direct sales business. And I was in a situation where I was kind of closing the gap for my team when like the whole pandemic happened in like 2019. And then, right, 2019? Why does it feel like?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like going fast.
Like it's been a while. It's been a while. So anyway, I was just kind of closing the gap for some of the girls that were on my team personally, and we would get on journaling every morning because I was noticing a lot of women were just in their head a lot, you know, and we were just like struggling with business. Like we talk about personal development, mindset, and all that kind of stuff. And that to me, like, is my outlet. I just like love to journal. And I remember Cheyenne Knox, she was doing journaling Zooms, but hers was like a little different. Like she would just get on, a lot of people would hop onto her Zooms and then like they would just journal. But my thing was like, what do you do when you have like the journaling questions? Like you want to talk about it kind of, right? So like I wanted it to be a little bit more intimate. So I just had one for my team. And honestly, like I filled up 2 whole journals that were like this size. And one day I was kind of going through some stuff I ended up getting a mentor, a coach, because I had hit like what I felt like was rock bottom. I was in a situation where working my business, being at home full time with my kids, I felt like I was so burnt out, y'all. Like even like through my writing, like I would have that peace, but like something in my daily life was not working for me. And I remember reaching out to a really good friend of mine now, and she was doing like coaching and mentoring. And I was like, well, let me see what she's got going on, you know? And so she kind of like helped me through stuff. And I started to like dig things out. Like I was finding like I was really facing like what I guess maybe like a depression, dealing with like old traumas, old hurts, things like that. And I'm like, gosh, like, why is all this stuff like coming up all of a sudden? And it wasn't just me. Like I was sitting with women on my team and they were going through things. And it was like, we could just kind of relate with each other, you know? So when I came up with my journal, it was honestly like I've been going through my healing journey, and like I still am. And honestly, like one day I just sat back and I looked through my journals in reflection. And so that's something that I teach my girls is like, let's go through your journals together. Let's reflect and let's find those little hidden treasures. Like to me, hidden treasures are basically like when you know, like Holy Spirit is like kind of guiding you and giving things. Those are like those little hidden treasures that you find, but you don't find them unless you actually are willing to go back and look through your writing. And the biggest thing that helped me get over like the burnout was really focusing on the moments to cherish, and then the gratitude, secondly, and then third, in my free writing, I was talking to God. Like, you know, when you're writing and you're like, am I talking to myself? Like, dear diary, dear Tiffany, like, who are you talking to when you write? Mm-hmm. Well, the pattern in my writing was always like at the end, I would be like, you know, Lord, please give me guidance on this. Like, Lord, I release this to you. You know, and it was like, I was having conversations with God through my writing. And so in that, I just remember like just kind of in reflection. And one day I was talking with my mentor at the time, my friend, and I said to her, I said, you know what I love about our journaling sessions is we go through like, we'll do a journaling prompt together. We'll do it out. But the thing that I hated was when we have to like put it in the Zoom and like you had to type it up, or, you know, type it up in the Zoom, and then you had to like write it in your journal. And then I would have to like highlight so I knew what was the journal prompt. And originally, like I was telling Justice this, I think Justice might be the only one on here that really knows, but my original intention was to create journal stickers. So I wanted to put journal like prompts on stickers. And then I would send them out to the girls that would be on the journaling Zoom. And then we would just take them off and then put them on our journal. And that to me would be like a dope idea. But then like the more that I was going through my journey of healing and all that, I just was like, one day I was just kind of sitting and reflecting through my journals. And I just remember just getting this idea, like, what if I just created everything that I've already gone through and then just kind of like packaged it together, and then it go from there? Because genuinely, like focusing on the gratitude, having space to free write, and then having a space to actually have like a journal question that you can answer. And then not only that, I wanted to teach the consistency. And so we all know, we're all in business, it takes 21 days to create habit. And so I was like going through the pages and I was designing this thing, and I was like, it was a lot. But ultimately my goal was like, let me pick like 21 solid journal prompt questions that I answered in my own time, and I'll package it. And that's what I did. And so my intention with it is for people to focus on the gratitude rather than the burnout, and then to have like space to free write, so that in that free writing, hopefully they'll get the same revelation, like they're gaining a relationship with God the way that I did. And then last, just have a question to answer, so that way it like makes you think a little bit deeper about what you're answering on the question. So that's how that came about. And it's just like I said, my own journey of healing. I just kind of like packaged it in there. So
that's good.
That's awesome. And you answered like the other two questions that I was going to ask, because I was going to ask you, what were some of the challenges that you faced that inspired the journal? And then what did you want to people, what did you want to accomplish with that journal? And you answered all of them. So
go ahead, girl. She read your mind.
She was so on it. I love it.
Her mind.
The only I will share, because you say challenge. Honestly, there was a lot of challenges. I'll say that. Like there was a lot of like, mostly I want to say that it was like me in my head, like the doubt, like, can I really for real do this? Like that people are gonna think this is dumb. Like why am I gonna do this? And like even thinking to myself, some of the journal, like the guided journals that I've purchased in my life, I didn't like them because they were so tiny, like there's not enough room to write. And so honestly, when I finally was just like, I got rid of that negative self-talk and just really was like, God really placed this on my heart to do this. And if this is something that God really wants me to do, he's going to be with me through it. And I had to, in a moment there, I had to like really surrender and be like, okay, God, like, obviously I'm having trouble with this. Like, what do you need me to do? And like, I always tell people, if it's not working at that moment, usually you have to like take a step back, and then you'll get like, there's more, like, this is why it took so long. Like, I don't know, but
I love that. I love it.
Yes,
that's so good. I think Victoria was up next.
Yeah. Excuse me. I'm still getting over my cold. Okay, so I wanted to ask about your journey with God, just because, I haven't been following you that long, but from what I've seen, it's inspiring to me because it's like a new thing for me. So I've just like started my journey. So I was just wondering like how, well, you kind of answered it too, because you said it was through the journal, but was there anything before? Like, have you gone to church? Are you like, how did you find your spirituality, your religion, your faith with God?
So that's a good question, because I'm going to be 100 with you guys. So growing up, I've always been a Christian. Like, honestly, my grandfather was a pastor. And it's been in my bloodline. And I remember at a young age, I was, saved. I accepted Jesus Christ into my heart. And I just remember over the course of the years, I would have an off and on relationship with God. It was legit, where one of those things where you call on to God because you're in a hard time. And that was my relationship. I'm gonna be real with you. And I found myself doing that again, right, through this whole pandemic thing. And like, we could say like, oh, I've always had a relationship with God, and you'll see people like sprinkle it on, like, oh, like, thank you, God, like, God is so good, like, it's sprinkled everywhere, right? And so I had to be honest with myself, like, do you genuinely have a relationship with God? And I was like, and I remember going through what I was going through. And when I was talking with my mentor at the time, she's actually, she's a Christian-based coach. And so she said to me one day, we were sitting down, she says, well, what are your priorities? And I was like, my priorities. And like, honestly, right off the bat, the number one thing was like my business. And she was like, okay, well, how's your relationship with God? And I'm like, I mean, I have one. And I remember when she asked me that question, it just resonated in my head for a really long time. Like, I said, I have a relationship with God, but do I really? I was treating it like a one-sided friendship. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
when you're only calling on your friend, like when you need something kind of deal.
Yes.
That's how my relationship was. And, but then when I looked through my writing and I was seeing like, I'm actually having conversation, like I'm releasing something. So to me, like that was my relationship with God. Like I started to get these little revelations of like, God, it was actually with me through some of the hardest times and some of the greatest times too, right? Like, of course, like always with us. And so that's what happened, is just honestly, like me working with a coach who helped me like with my priorities in my daily life. And then, really wanting to just figure out why I kept feeling the way that I felt. And when we would listen to personal development and things like that, it was all just like hitting surface level type stuff. And when I really started to dig like into like myself and like what I was going through, it was really like saying, you know what, I need to invite God back into my life and to really be at the center of everything. And so that's kind of how that started. And it happened through this whole journey.
And I could relate to that so much, because I mean, like I've always gone to church my whole life, on and off. My parents weren't religious, but then when I met my husband, like we would go to church. But now that I'm like going to church and like really like I'm reading the Bible every day, and I'm doing like I'm talking to God, like actual conversations with him. And I was in church the other day and I was just like sitting there and I was just like, I actually apply this. I never did that before. I listen to the sermons, I do everything, and then I apply it at home. And I've been trying to be like following the commandments and like just doing the things. Like I've been trying to be good. Like I even catch myself saying bad words now. I'm like, oops, I didn't mean to say that. So I just yeah, thank you. So I'm excited for my journey, and I'm glad that I found you, because now I'm gonna get your journal and do all those things with you too.
That's awesome. I would love that. But yeah, I could totally relate with you on that, like applying it and stuff. And for me, because of this whole COVID stuff, I was attending church from virtual, obviously, not in an actual building for like the longest time. But when I did first find network marketing back in like 2009, I remember it planted a seed for us to start going to church. And I had a home church for like years. And then again, like I said, like, to be honest, like it was something that it just kept falling on the back burner. And I like felt so guilty about that when I realized that that's what I was doing. But now, right, like God gives us like so much grace and mercy, and to be like, you know what, like, let's get it right. And to really get it right, like you said, apply it.
And he's been there still. He hasn't left us. He's always been there. He's just waiting for us to find our way back to him. So
amen.
Who's next?
Justice.
Okay. Oh, hi. So my question for you is, how did digging deeper into your relationship with God help you with your healing process?
Oh man, this is a good one. This is a good question.
I feel like we've touched on this like personally, but I really wanted you to speak on that because it's such a beautiful process.
It really is. And I thank you for asking this, because this is really, like, you guys just having me on here is pushing me so much out of my comfort zone, because I literally have been in such an awkward state, like just being so in the world to having now a relationship with God. And I'm just like, God has been like protecting me like this whole time from so many things. But so when you say like, how has digging deeper allowed me to, with my healing process, right? Digging deeper with God.
Well, how did digging deeper into your relationship? Because like you said, like you've always had this relationship, but you were kind of like surface level. So digging deeper into that relationship as you're going through your healing process, like how did God work with you in your healing process?
So, okay. So honestly, again, I'm going to go back to my mentor, my coach at the time, because what happened was when I was really facing a lot of the things that I was going through, we were uncovering some stuff through like, she has like this write your story checklist. And I'll be happy to share it with you guys. And that's what helped me create like my daily routine to be able to like set intentional time throughout my day. So she like helps with you with your daily life stuff. Her name is Angelica Stanley, if you guys want to find her. But,
I was going to ask you to say that too.
Yeah. So when I was working with her, we were really talking about wounds and trauma. And I was like, man, like, why do certain patterns in my life happen? So in digging deeper, I was digging within me. Like I was digging up all this old stuff that like we tend to just kind of like push aside, like, oh, this is just who I am. I'm just like that. This, you know, you better love me or hate me. Like that's just who I am, kind of thing, right? And all this stuff was popping up, and I'm like, okay, like this obviously isn't right, because when I'm reading scripture, it's talking about jealousy and envy and greed and like all this kind of stuff, right? And I was just like looking at it, and I just remember like thinking like, Lord, search me, like search my heart. If there's anything of me that is not of you, anything that is, you know, causing these things to happen in my life, like search me, show me, reveal them to me. And I remember one time I went to Justice, and I was just like, so I just told God to just show me whatever it was that he needed to show me. And she was like, ooh. Why did you? She was like,
because it's dangerous. Like those are
dangerous. And
those
I'm like,
dangerous things you're tapping into.
And I said, but I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Yo, like I hit double diamond in my business, and then I had no fulfillment. I was making this type of income and I had no fulfillment. I was home with my kids and they didn't even know who I was. All this kind of stuff. I was having relationship issues. I was having problems in my friendships. Like all kinds of stuff was happening. And I'm like, this can't be of God. If there's so much confusion, if there's so much chaos in my daily life, like this isn't what God would like wants for us. This isn't what the word says. Mm-hmm. And so really digging deeper was like facing those things. Like I started to have conviction about different things, and I still do. And I'm still working on different things. And I just remember reading scriptures, and it would be, you know, just something like off the top, like just to give an example about gossiping. And I had just got off the phone gossiping or whatever, right? And it was like, oh, like Lord. And so those kinds of things. And like you said, Victoria, like you catch yourself flipping up, like cussing or whatever, and you're like, oh, and certain things start to feel like things are changing around you, and you're like, things don't feel right. Things don't feel the same like the way that they used to. And it really humbled me to the point where I had to get on my knees all the time and just repent and cry and ask God, like, for real, like, show me what it is. And it's been a long process, because I guess there was a lot of stuff with me. So
we all got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I love to say, like, we're like, I explained it to my husband, like, we have these bags, like, we have all these bags that we walk into our relationships with. I know if you've seen, I think it was like Michael Todd, like Transformation Church, like I don't know if you see the sermon, he had all those bags that he was just carrying. So when I said, I'm like, we have all these bags, we bring it to our situations, and sometimes you gotta start open, you gotta make room, right? When you move in, you unpack. Yeah. So sometimes we just want to put our bags in the corner. We're like, nope, I'm keeping all this stuff. So that's why I said, like, I don't want to say adding God, making him the center in your life as you're going through your healing process, from what you said, like, it seems like you actually, like, you talk about surface level, like, you actually got deeper into your healing process because you allowed God to come into your situation. So that's beautiful.
Because thank you. And that's really what it was. There was a lot of unforgiveness too. Like that's like the biggest thing. So like if all of you are dealing with things in your healing process where you're just like, you feel like a bitterness towards people or a situation, or, you know, even our parents, we were just talking about this today. And that is a huge part, is like that forgiveness, like forgiving others. And then not only that, but like forgiving yourself, like forgive yourself. Like that was hard, because I would always walk around like, I'm just not worthy. Like, I'm not worthy of this. I'm not deserving. Like, I'm not good enough. And it was because I'm carrying all this guilt and shame and things of my life, you know, as a young mom at 17, getting pregnant, like all these different things. Right. And it's like, okay, it's time to like give that to God. Like he's already forgiven you. He's already taken that. Like you owe it to yourself. It's like, forgive yourself. That was hard. That was probably like, and I have like some podcasts on that. I'm real vulnerable in that whole process. So
I absolutely adore like your transparency. Your podcast is amazing. It encourages me every time I listen to it, seriously, because like your healing process and getting to the point that you were at, like, it's amazing to see, like, you know what I mean, like how you invited God into your situation, just flipped it, stripped it, and reversed it all.
Exactly.
So it was good.
Oh, that was so good.
That was wonderful.
So Marguerite, what you got for our Tiffany?
What could you tell? I think my internet is a little bit unstable. Sorry. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So what could you tell our listeners that, you know, can you encourage them, like give them a word of encouragement? They're probably like going through the same, you know, situation as you, or in the healing process.
So some words of encouragement, honestly, like, because everyone's situation is so different, Margarita, I feel like the biggest thing, and like me and Ashley were talking about this the other day, is like, I feel like sometimes when it comes to like religion and that kind of stuff, like people get so turned off and turned away because we're like, maybe from our past or whatever, like we're always taught to do it a certain way, right? And so we were talking about how like you have to find your own relationship with God, right? And so my biggest thing to encourage anybody, you know, that's going through maybe a difficult time in their situation, whether they're just like burnt out, or maybe you're like recovering from something, maybe you're trying to overcome, you know, a really difficult thing in your life. My biggest thing, honestly, is to just be really honest with yourself. Like be completely 100% honest with yourself. Like so often I feel like we go through things in our daily life that we get so like caught up in like everything that's going on, what everyone else is doing, the highlight reels, like all that kind of stuff. And sometimes you really just have to like separate yourself. And when you go into really like writing daily and things like that, like you will find your own relationship with God, because in your writing, I truly feel like that's where you could be the most transparent, the most honest. And I said this on one of my podcasts, like you just have to get it out. Like if you're somebody, you don't like to write with pen and paper, maybe you could type it out, or even get like those little audio recorders. There's something about getting your thoughts out, releasing it, and surrendering those things that you're feeling, those things that you've gone through in your life that may have held you back, the mistakes that you've made, right? There's just something about releasing it that can help you move forward. And so like my encouragement to anybody that's going through it is just be completely honest. And like, really, you have to own that truth. You have to, like, even the mistakes that you've made, if you're in a relationship, maybe you've done things, if you have a relationship and maybe your spouse has hurt you, Did you ever face those things that you were like, that really hurt you? You know, those kinds of things. Like, have you ever really faced it, or did you always try to avoid it and cover it up? Because for me, I was always somebody who tried to cover it up and avoid it by staying busy and be on the hustle. Like, I'm somebody who likes to go. And I would numb it by distracting it, by staying busy and finding significance in that. And those are those things that I feel like got me in a deeper hole, because I started to feel like I became prideful. I became greedy. Like, there's just all these things that come with it. And we see it in people that we're around on a daily basis. And we can point it out in them, like, why are they like this, or why are they like that? And sometimes we can recognize things in others because we ourselves have done the same, or we ourselves have gone through it too. And so it's owning that truth. Like, snap, the reason why I probably feel like this about this situation is because at one point I went through it too, and I never faced that. So that's like my biggest encouragement, honestly, is it ain't going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty, like, but you have to go through that. And you really do.
Yeah. Thank you. That was really good. I can relate to a lot of the stuff that you were saying. I'm like, wow, girl, you're talking to me right now.
Go ahead, Freestyle. I know Freestyle got something for you. Go ahead, girl.
Hi, Tiffany, beautiful. How are you? So, wow, you was like, really, I know all of y'all probably agree with you. You was really talking about me, really. I had to make you laugh. I told you I was going to do that. But anyway, I want to ask you is, I heard some amazing things about your podcast. So I want to know, how did you come into the thought of even thinking about a podcast? Like, what inspired you to do that? Because, you know, it's levels to that, you know, and it's like a podcast, like, you know, I just heard so many amazing things. Tell me what inspired you to create a podcast?
So thank you, by the way, for asking. So for that, again, it was this journey that I've been on, my healing journey. The girl that I work with, my mentor, she helps you to the point where it's like you're getting your daily life in order. And she was just like, there's something powerful about telling your story. Like, going through what you're going through is going to help people. So she tells us that you're helping people through the things that you've overcome, right? And so I'm like, I like that, because we recognize that just through journaling, when we would share different prompts and things that we would go through, the things that I might have gone through, Justice can relate with in present time, you know, and we would share. So I had to get it out. Like, I think my intention originally was I was writing a book. So I was typing up my content and I was releasing all the things that I was going through. But my story is still being written. Like, God, there's just so much testimony. Like, God is so good. I can see like what he's doing. I can see him in everything. Mm-hmm. And so rather than waiting to share my story, like in a book, it was like, I needed to tell people the now. Right. So one of the things that she teaches us is like, well, what can you do? Can you do like a Facebook group? Like, what are some ideas that you can do to help people through your story? Can you blog, you know? And for me, I was like, I need to talk. Like, I have to talk. And so she does a podcast. And so she suggested it to me. She's like, well, here, use the platform that I do, which is, if you guys are interested, it's called Anchor. So anchor.fm. So if you guys ever want to start your own podcast or whatever, it's free. And she told me like, there's tools on there. You can edit it on there. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. It's pretty like low key, like not a lot of people know about it. But then lo and behold, it streams it on all the other platforms for you. So it does it automatically. So I was on Spotify. And
social media.
Yeah. So it just like pushed me like further out there. And I remember the first podcast that I did, it was just kind of like a tester to just kind of see. And it was me owning my truth about like, I'm not supposed to feel stuck. Like, why do I feel stuck? And I'm supposed to be happy. Like, all this stuff around me is going great, but I feel stuck. So I own that truth. And I spoke about it on my first podcast. And from there, it just became a Think with Tiff type thing. So I just freely talk about my journey. I pick a topic that I've recently overcome. Like I did a forgiveness series where I like did forgiveness of myself, forgiving our parents. I interviewed another girl, her name is Chandrea Lasco, amazing woman, by the way. She helps women in their relationships. And I did a podcast with her, and it just helps people. Like if you're doing something else, like to me, I feel honored to get people on and to also share their story and to kind of, go through the journey with me. But yeah, that's kind of how that started. It's just honestly, like I was going through it. I was writing about it already. And so just kind of sharing from where I'm at as I go.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
I love that.
I love it. I'm so happy you came on with us, Tiffany.
That's
so great.
Fun. Like, really.
Yes.
Thank you guys. Thanks for pushing me out here.
Girl.
Get out your comfort zone.
And it was so perfect for our topic, because like our topic is about healing and just overcoming past judgment and things like that. And I feel like it just zoomed right into it, and I just love it. And I'm just happy that you're here with us. It's just meant, you were meant to be here today. So I just love that. So jumping into it, healing. So I, like, as you were talking, I'm like, oh my God, like everyone said, like, she's talking to me. Like, it's just so crazy. Like with healing, like I never had it in words. And it's so crazy. I couldn't wait to say this. I was like, she like gave me the words that I feel about healing. Like even with this topic, I was like, I don't even know what I want to talk about on this, but like, so I guess I'll just start it off, because usually I pick on Vanessa and we'll just go around and just discuss it. But I guess I'll start it this time. So like, I feel like what we do a lot with the healing process is we replace it a lot. And like, we replace it with something else. And I've said this a lot, like, even like, I feel like you said, we're so busy, we're always moving, and we just try to replace it. But I feel like that's not a good thing in itself as well, because we don't allow ourselves to heal from the damage that, we just went through. And I can honestly relate to that so much, because I've like, it's so crazy when you're talking, I'm like, oh my God, like, is she not speaking to me right now? Because I remember like going through something like a change in my life just a couple years ago, before me and my fiance, got together. Like I was like, it was probably like 3 years before me and him got together. I was, from my kid's father. And I remember like so much that we went through, and what was going on. I remember at one moment, and it's so crazy, because I was like talking to God, like this, I was doing the right thing. I was talking to him and I was asking him, give me a sign. And he gave me the sign, right? But then I started trying to replace, like I tried to replace what was going on, to forget about him and all the damage I was going through, right? So then that's where I lost my connection with God, and I replaced it with something that wasn't good, and it was just like, sometimes we think that it's so, let's replace it, right? But we lose ourselves again, because we never gained ourselves back, so we're so quick to replace it, because that's the only way we know how to heal, right? Like, all right, well, that pizza was bad, give me a new pizza, you know what I mean? Like you can bring it back and just get into something new. And that's what we're taught, like, and let's go back to, I feel like, we're conditioned to be a certain way, and it's not right, because it takes us further from who we are and what we're supposed to be, and not always like run a direction that may not be for us, you know what I mean? And like I said, in that moment, I remember talking to God, and he was the one who released me. I asked for that sign. Like I asked him, give me that sign to make this next move. And he gave me that sign, but my next move, I didn't ask anymore. I just, okay, well, he released me. Now I'm about to go replace it. You know what I mean? To get my mind off of it. And then it was just not good. You know what I mean? It just put me in a worse situation, to where, eventually I gave myself time. Like I understood, like, no, this is not right. You know what I mean? I put myself in a worse position, to where now I have to give myself time, and I'm in a way better place in life. But we're always going to be healing through something, and it doesn't have to be a relationship. Like right now, I feel like I'm healing with things with my kids, like, you know what I mean? And like you even said, like I had my kids young, you know what I mean? And that's something that I'm healing with right now. Like, I feel like just now growing with everything that's going on in the world has opened my eyes to things that, like, wow, like I should have protected them more. You know what I mean? I should have had them closer to me rather than, you know what I mean? Even though I'm like, I was always one of those hovering moms. My kids probably tell you, I'm like, but you know, we heal through so much. Like, it can just be that, it could be like just something, you know, your spouse might have said to you and it's not even bad, but it's just like, oh my God, like, you know what I mean? You have to heal through everything in life, like, and you have to heal. You can't just forget about it. You have to release it. And
you got to deal with it.
You have to deal with it because
I
feel like
come back.
It's just gonna come back. Yeah, it's just gonna come back. And I think that's the biggest problem with people. They think they heal when they find something better at the moment. It looks good, you know what I mean? So but whoever wants to jump in, but I just wanted to, because it was like you were talking to me. I was like, I had to release that because I never had the words for it. And I know, like, even Vanessa, I even told Vanessa something recently, like, us women, like, not to say this, but us women, when we get out of a relationship, we love hard, like, and the only way we replace it is by moving on. And it's hard for us to move on. We stay longer than we should at times, but that's when we move on, is by replacing it with someone else. You know what I mean? And it may take long, but that's not even you didn't heal, because it's like you're still worrying about that. And then so it's so true, but you definitely have to talk to God and keep that relationship. Don't just ask him what to do and just leave him hanging there like
one-sided. Okay, yeah.
All right, cool. I'm about to get my car now.
All right,
go ahead, girls.
I can say, well, I can understand that. With me, I'm healing through a lot of stuff, not even just myself, but really basically on myself, because I was always there for everyone else. My family members, my children, the fathers, whatever, stuff like that. And then now when it's just me, I'm learning who I am now. Like, my life is just beginning. And, you know, I'm learning how to, like they always say, women are emotional. No, we ain't emotional. We just express ourselves, you know, but they always say we are, you know, and then, you know, like, it's me right now. And I'm learning so much about myself, and it's a little bit scary. I'm like, no, that ain't me, you know, because I used to be real arrogant, you know, asking how they say up north, we arrogant and all this and that, but that's just how we are. That's how we was raised. So I'm a little aggressive and assertive, but it's just like how you just said, okay, you know, I talk to God and I say my prayer and my meditation, everything. And then when something comes, you be like, all right, I'm gonna take that. But no, you gotta deal with everything. That's just a part of, like what I say, Ashley, this crazy thing called life. You have to go through it. You have to, because that's who we are. There's nothing wrong with that. And we get so scared. We think it's, oh no, I don't want nobody to know I'm like that. I'm like this. Everybody's different. We all in one human race. Like, we're gonna love each other regardless. Like, you know, like I think Marguerite was saying, or one of y'all was saying something about, you know, Tiffany said, God didn't put us here for us to be like this. We're supposed to be happy, full of love and joy. And spread it. You know, there are some decent people out here. Some of us are us, you know, and we got to apply it. You have children, you know, you have girls, they growing up, getting teenagers, and there's a lot of stuff that we wasn't taught when we was young. I'm old school. So I have to learn what my parents taught me, because it's a different generation, you know, and I taught my kids what I was taught. So it's really challenging for me every day dealing with myself, because, you know, when I get upset, I learn how to deal with it. And when people make me upset, like, for instance, I want to say, I tell my son, like, when people say something, you know how, especially was like, I can't stand her. She get on my nerves. Look how she acting. That's not her. That's her attitude. You can't judge a person the way they act. You know, that's right there. We so ready to point like, oh, if that wasn't me, I would have done that. You don't know what you would have done until you in that situation. So you know, you just got to know how to deal. So you have your ups and downs. But you know what? Every day, like, it's going to show you, nah, you have to deal with this. You can't cover that up. Like you say, oh, this, I don't want that piece. No, you're going to get that one until you deal with it. And then you get another one if you want another one. That's it. You know, that's his life. But healing is a beautiful thing. It's very uncomfortable, but it's a necessity. You have to do it. It's just part of life. You have to learn to live with rainy days or sunny days. And this being on this with y'all ladies, I have never done like this in my life. And I think this is going to really, really help all of us and me as well. And I just love you ladies. I just wanted to say that.
Aww,
beautiful.
We love you too.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Love you, girl.
So I kind of want to say something about this because I've been dealing with a little bit of healing myself and like overcoming a lot of judgment, and when I say judgment, I came across this these thoughts, and I had to write it down. So I'm gonna tell y'all bits and pieces because like literally I have like a whole bunch of pages filled. But the most important, the thing that kind of like, when Ashley was telling us this is what we're going to be talking about, I was like, I found it really, really interesting. So I just started thinking, I'm like, I never really thought about the stuff that I've been through, and the things that were really like, bothering me deep inside. So this whole week I've been really like digging inside me and, how do I overcome all those things and, the judgment of people, what they say, what they have said or things like that. But then it really hit me. It's like, it's not or what I'm doing with myself, my life. I feel like I judge myself a lot, and sometimes we do that. We judge ourselves a lot and we're so hard on ourselves and we don't give ourselves enough credit, so we're worried and we're thinking about, oh my God, this person must be thinking this, or what if I do this? And then, but we're really judging ourselves hard, and we do this probably daily without even noticing, so I'm kind of like, been thinking about that and working on that myself. And then also like, I've learned to accept things that I haven't like didn't want to accept, but I thought that accepting it was like, oh, well, I'm letting it be okay, and it's not okay, but it passed and it's in my past. It happened. So I have to accept it, but learn from that, like kind of take, what am I getting out of that? How is this going to help me grow in my process right now? So basically that's what I've been working on myself because I've been really hard on myself about a lot of things. And I'm, truly glad that I got all this information from you guys and, and being here. This is like so out of my comfort zone. Okay. But yeah. I'm glad to be here every Monday. I literally look forward to this and it's fun, because this has helped me a lot in this short time.
I'm glad you're here too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Love that. Can I just say, like, I'm so proud of you guys, like, just hearing just the little bits, like, I don't really, like, know each of you like that, but to just hear you even say, like, that you have that revelation already now in your journey to say, those things happened, they passed, but what did I learn from it? So many people, they won't look at it like that. What did I learn from it? Right. They're just like, woe is me. Like, nah, what did you learn from it though? Like, are you gonna do better now? Like, do better,
Definitely.
Yes.
I'm proud of you. That's dope. I love it.
Thank you.
Yes. Victoria and Justice, you're muted. I don't know if you know, but
yeah, you're muted.
Yeah, my dog's been barking and being annoying, so that's why I was muted.
For yelling. I because as I'm sitting here and I'm thinking like my healing journey, I didn't even realize, like, yes, I had a lot of childhood trauma. I had a lot of stuff, a lot of bags, a lot of stuff. And I didn't even realize that. And obviously when I was like 14, I went through like years of therapy after my grandmother passed. There was a lot of stuff. So I had like a lot of like anger stuff. So anger management, all that stuff, right? Being super transparent. So I thought, okay, this quick little count to 12 method that they taught me, this should just get me through all of it. That's it. And then I got married. And then I had kids. And then it was just like, count to 12 is not working anymore. We need, there's something obviously deeper that's happening. And like I said, as my relationship with God grew, and I'm learning all this stuff, and I'm like, ooh, that's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're doing this now. Honestly, I feel like once I hit 25, because I'm 25 now, I really was like, wow, I gotta deal with all that stuff. And especially with, like I said, me and Tiffany's relationship, like her talking about like unforgiveness and all those things that are just like sitting there, like waiting for you to just unpack it, open it up, deal with it, and move through it. That's when I officially was like, okay, I need to really start forgiving my parents for this. And I need to release my spouse from that. And I need to move along, and I need to really deal with me. So in my group, I talked about self-acceptance. And like Margarita said, like, you gotta really sit in the mirror. And I learned this recently. You gotta sit in the mirror, you gotta really sit with yourself. You gotta be like, this is true. This is the lie that you've been trying to tell yourself to get you through whatever. You really got to sit and, like if I like in my business, I talk about like embracing the growth, because that and a lot of people are like, oh, that's so cute. I love that. It's like, no, like that's something I didn't want to do. I did not want to embrace my growth. I you know what I mean? Like I grew. I was not that little hurt girl anymore. I'm a wife, I'm a mother. I have 2 children who are emotionally, physically relying on me to help them govern their little self. I can't be, you know what I mean, emotionally immature, and I can't be like, oh, look at how bad I look, or I can't have those things that are coming up for me sitting there, because that's going to project onto my children. And that's why, like, as I go through this healing process, that I really don't want to go through some days. I really, like, I wish my mom could be here to go through her own, because I don't know if you ever heard about generational curses, but I see it like this, and I'm pretty sure everybody sees it in different ways. When let's say your grandma, she never understood, she never went through her healing process, so she passed down her hurts and her pains down to your mom, and your mom never went through her healing her healing journey, and she never learned about herself or accepted herself for who she was, so she taught you all those negative, nasty things. And now and me and Tiffany, we talked about this recently, like it stops with me. So when and for anybody who watches this, like when you're going through your healing journey, just see it as, not only is it going to change you for the better, but it's going to change your daughter or your son or whoever comes after you, and then their kids, because you're going to be the one that chooses to be healthier. And healing could be your physical body, right? Working out, how your eating habits. It could be mental stuff, especially if you have a long list. Yes, Justice, list of mental illnesses in your family background. You choosing to heal from those things is so powerful in ways you wouldn't even understand. So that's how I feel about healing. Like,
I love it.
I have to kind of piggyback off of what Justice was saying. Like, my mom had her like issues with her parents, like you were saying, the generational curses. It took her a long time to get through them. I mean, she was an alcoholic, so in turn I was an alcoholic. Like, it just like was a pattern, but she broke that pattern. She's been sober for over 10 years now. And so then I started, like, overlapped, but I kind of feel guilty. Like, I carry a strong guilt because I feel like I never healed, or even looks like even my childhood traumas, I could unpack so much from growing up. So I wasn't the best mom, and my kids are already older. So I'm like sitting here trying to heal myself with a ton of guilt and like that kind of baggage, because I feel bad that I wasn't like the mom that I could have been, when kind of what you were saying, Ashley, like the way you have, and and I don't have younger kids, but I have my grandkids. So I like feel it's just a different thing. It's very, very, it's harder that way because I can't go back and change time, and it hurts. It's like something that really, like, it hurts. Like I can't, I don't know what else to do. But like you said, it's just, we have to go through the healing process. And right now, all I can do is just do better moving forward and do the best that I can right
it's
now.
the self-acceptance that's the part, like, and obviously this stuff doesn't happen overnight. You're gonna constantly be going through this, and like I literally just recently realized that this could take me like all of the rest of my life to really unpack of what has happened to me, what I'm dealing with, the unlearning and relearning and all this stuff. Right. But one thing that and like, as you're saying, like my kids are older and my time is kind of, you feel like, you know, like I can't go back. There's no condemnation in Jesus Christ. And that's the thing. Once you're a new creation. So yes, I know the past is still there looking you in the face, but you have to forgive yourself now. And you can just move forward from that, because that's all you can do. Because I don't know, my mentor, she says the same thing. She says, like, you know, the old is gone, the new is here, like it's brand new. Yeah. And we just move forward.
I like how she said, well, not even just that. Like, I love how she said, she told me, I was telling her I was watching a live that I did 2 years ago. Yeah. And I said, I was so disgusted with myself. And she's like, why? And I said, because all you see was pride. And I was like so full of myself, like with the business. And I was talking about how you got to join my business for it to change your life. And if you're not, don't know anything about network marketing, you're like uneducated and ignorant. And I was saying all this stuff, and I was like, who was she? What was that? And then my mentor said, she goes, love her, just love her. Yeah. That's like the old, that's,
give her grace.
Yes.
Love her. The grace over.
I was like, okay, I love her, but goodbye.
Right.
What about you, Vanessa, over there?
Oh, I'm quiet today. Today
you
was
can end it with a bang, girl.
it was a rough day. But I feel like I'm in the I'll be going through a different type of healing. I feel from the news, and I didn't talk about it, but I have a sick family member, you know what I mean, that will be passing soon. So that will be a process that I'll have to heal with soon. So I'm still processing it. Like, I'm still processing the news right now.
Yeah.
So I'm a little quiet today because of that, you know, just in my head or whatever about it. But you know, we all go through that, where we have to go through a healing process for loved ones that we lost, you know. And it's just I've been through it before. My dad passed away when I was young. So, but it's never easy, you know. It's never easy. And you know, so that's why I'm so quiet today, guys. Sorry. I'm just like in my head.
Okay, my prayers and blessings to you.
No worries, love.
But I love that. I'm glad Tiffany came and joined us today, and everything that you guys are saying, like, this is therapeutic for me. Yeah. You know?
So good. So before we end it, Tiffany, how can our viewers find you?
Probably just on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook. I think you tagged me. And then also I do have my own little website. It's under my family business name. So it's creativecause.com. And that's creatiffkas.com. And then from there, you can reach me. Like, there's a shop section if you want to get the journal. It's also on like Amazon. There's a link on there to get you directed to the podcast if you guys want to listen to that. But you could just friend me on Facebook. We could be friends.
What's the name of that podcast you were saying earlier? It was a name you said if you wanted to start your podcast. Was it Ingrid.podcast?
Anchor.com.
How you spell that?
Anchor. So ANCHOR.FM. And I know there's like other ones too that you could find. I believe they're all pretty much free, but that was one that my friend used and that she recommended. So yeah, I'm excited.
I wrote your website down there, but I don't know if you put the link.
I'm so glad I got to meet you, Tiffany.
What's that?
I'm glad I got to meet you. I'm glad I got to meet you and talk to you.
I'm glad I got to meet you too. And I'm so excited for you. It sounds like you're like on the right path, like with everything that you're going through and stuff. And one thing that like my mentor told me, she's like, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to go through it. Like, just go through it.
Just do it.
Yeah. And the best thing is like write through your process, like journal it out, you know, through your journey. Because you're gonna look back and you're gonna see.
Girl, you inspired me tonight, all of y'all. Oh. I got a lot of writing to do. I'm writing while I'm listening. I'm just very inspired by you. I really appreciate you coming on here, all you ladies. You helped me out and everything you said, all of you guys. We healing together.
And definitely like check out her journal because it was amazing for me. Like
but seriously, like,
that experience, like it really is. Like I have it right here too. Oh my God.
There you go. That's so pretty.
Seriously,
I love it.
Oh, okay.
Check it out.
I literally just did an Amazon review of it, like a little.
I gotta do that.
I like reading reviews, so I'm gonna go get one. I'm really big on reviews.
It's so good, and she gave us enough space for everything.
Yes,
except the to-do list.
Yeah, we don't want
everybody go get the journal.
Well, maybe it was good because maybe we should overload ourselves. So it actually, you're probably on to something, Tiffany.
Yeah, do that
on to something. Just minimize it. Take it with a grain of salt.
Like you will do that part.
Because you know you're not gonna do all that today.
Right. You gotta do something now. Come on.
Yeah. But this was so great. And again, thank you, Tiffany. I'm pretty sure everyone watching and all of us on the piano just loved it, and we loved having you. And you were our first guest. So I feel like we all probably had our nerves like high, even you, Tiffany, like, but you did so great. And I just
yes, you did.
Thank you for setting that tone, because you just set a tone for us, you know?
Yeah.
You guys are doing amazing. So I thank you guys for just allowing me to share this space with you. Like, I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
And I love like the sound of what's on her mind. Like, that's what I think of when I think of that. So that's so dope. And all of you guys are just such amazing women. And I'm just excited for all of your guys' journey. Everything that you guys are doing, just stay close to God, you guys. Like, take him off the back burner, have that relationship, keep doing it. And he's going to guide your path, like, where you need to be, you know? So we'll all get it right together.
That's right.
Yes.
And you have to tag your friend Angela.
Oh yeah.
Comments, because she seems awesome.
Yeah.
I do follow her on my pages. I do follow her. I'm just like all over the place, but I do follow her on my Instagram. She's lovely.
Well, what's cool too about her is so not only does she help you with like your daily life, you know, your relationship with God, but she also helps you like package like whatever ideas you have. So like if you have like a business idea from like just you writing out your story. So like what's cool about like the ladies who are doing journaling with me is I can introduce them to her. And so based on like all the writing that they've already done, whether they want to start a podcast or create a website or whatever, she helps, especially like us who are like just starting out and like maybe the budget is tight and you're like trying to fit it in. Like she has like really good resources to help you like get it together. So
that's awesome.
That
I'm gonna look her up for sure.
Yeah.
Drop her name down in the comments for the girls, but that was so great. Thank you so much, Tiffany.
Thank you, Tiffany.
And just as you drop that link down there with her your Amazon her book. Yep. That's our Amazon girl right there. One thing I do want to say before we end it, on those that are in our Her Mind group, I've been posting and I've been doing it daily. Like something I learned from Tiffany. I remember journaling. She made us write a letter to ourselves.
Oh yeah.
And so I've been posting up. I found some. So every day is going to be a letter to, like, the first day I think was like a letter to, I can't remember, someone you love or something like that. So it's going to go every day. And those letters, I just want to put it out there. Those letters, and I'm going to repeat this in the group, but those letters are not, if you want to give it to the person, you can, but those letters are for you to release, which is a part of healing. So I did want to mention that on here because, you know, sometimes we feel like and I said this one day, sometimes you have to forgive them without, you know, hearing them say sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, and move on. You have to.
Because it's for you, it's not for them.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's for you to let it go.
Exactly.
So each day I put up, you know, each day it's going to be someone different, or, you know what I mean, that you're going to write to. You can burn it, whatever you want to do with it. You can give it to the person, you can mail it to them, you know what I mean? You can burn it, you can stomp on it, you can flush it down the toilet.
I like how she said burn it.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna burn it. Mine.
But they are there for your healing purposes. So if you are watching, take advantage of them, because it really does work. Like, even writing to yourself. I think that was the first one. Writing to your younger self or present self. So it really is something deep. And I remember doing this with Tiffany, and it really helped me. You know what I mean? Just reflecting on my younger self was crazy. Like, and just, it made me just realize, like, how much, like, you know, we lose our innocence and just everything. Like, it's just crazy. And that's what we need to remember, that part, like that innocent part. So I just wanted to say that. And again, Tiffany, thank you so much. And we'll end it here. This was great, and I loved it, and can't wait to see you girls next week. And Tiffany, we might bring you back on in a couple months.
Right. Don't be surprised.
Let's do it, because I know you'll be doing something else.
This was fun.
Bye.
Bye, guys.